Hello! I hope you're all doing marvellously well. So we've got a little bit of a simultaneous thing going on here. Hi Johnny. We have both YouTube and Facebook going at once here. So that's kind of fun. At least I think we have YouTube going because have I put it, is it public? Matt and Sam. Oh yeah, it's public. Hello. Okay, now we got, oh that's quick. 32 people, 40 people straight away. Firstly, did you all have a lovely Thanksgiving? Now, obviously not everybody watching is in America, but those of you that are will know it's actually quite a massive holiday here. I know it has a lot of interesting history that people like to talk about, but ultimately what it is it's a wonderful time to get together with family and friends. So I hope you all had a marvelous Thanksgiving. It was great, and I have chosen not to work a full day here. Oh, somebody's mixing Hey Lady. Wonderful. So I've chosen not to work a full day here. I'm just going to do some bits and pieces. I'm back to work properly tomorrow, actually. Hello, Mark in the UK. I'm back to work properly tomorrow, working with Mikey Pauker again. So we'll probably do some live broadcasting with Mikey. We're also going to do some stuff with David. So I don't know if anybody saw the Facebook post, but we're going to do some live broadcasting with David from the Workday release, and we're going to make those files available. Now, what I mean by that is we're going to make those files available so you can work along with us. So we're going to put up some like drums and basses and guitars. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you all had a wonderful day yesterday, those of you all over the world, whether you were in America or not. It's a big deal, obviously, here. And I feel very, very blessed. So I've been getting a million questions as usual. In fact, these days, I get sort of 400 to 600 emails a day. It can be quite overwhelming. So what I want to do is kind of, answer some of the ones that keep coming up over and over again, and of course answer any stuff that's coming up here. Somebody's asking about doing a video on MIDI. That's a good idea. I think we'll do something just on MIDI. People are saying wonderful things, like here's somebody who's a Latin producer and saying he really enjoys the videos. It's a wonderful thing. Of course, I can't go without addressing the fact that it is officially Black Friday. So one of the questions I get is, what is the Academy? In fact, somebody on Reddit asked this question recently, just like what's the difference between the Produce Like a Pro Academy and just the videos that Warren does for free all over YouTube, all over Facebook, and everywhere else they do. There is stuff on compression on vocals, by the way. That's a good idea. Hey guys, who's watching? Matt, Sam? Yeah? Can I get a yes from Matt and Sam? You want to set up a raffle to win a membership, a lifetime membership? How about that? That's something we should do. Matt's saying, yeah. So let's set up a lifetime membership. So those of you that aren't members of the Academy yet, I get asked all the time, what is it? So what it is essentially this. First of all, it's insanely inexpensive. If you want to buy the full year, at the moment, we're doing it for $99 for the whole year. It's a Black Friday sale. Hey, lots of thumbs up. So that's what it is. And every single month we do a free multi-track and we record. What do? We do pretty much everything. Hello in Moscow. We do, we've done heavy rock. We've done just straight ahead rock. We do pop songs. We do synth-based stuff. We do programmed only songs. We do piano stuff. We do stuff that was recorded on 2-inch tape and transferred into Pro Tools or into a DAW. You name it, we do it. Hello in Costa Rica. So it's really important for us to let everybody experience. And the great thing about this is every single track, even with some of these incredibly famous players, we have Vinnie Colaiuta playing on one of the songs. Who knows Vinnie Colaiuta? I mean, he is arguably... He's definitely the top 1 or 2 best drummers in the world. Absolutely amazing. You know, playing with Peter Gabriel and Sting, and Zappa, obviously, when he was 21. Hello, Bristol. So basically, it's a wonderful place where you get access to the best musicians in the world, and recordings that were done in anything from small home studios right up to like the biggest studios in the world. You know, whether it be United or Sunset Sound or any of those, NRG, any of these incredible studios. So it's like all of the different stuff all over. And a lot of the things were recorded with huge consoles, and a lot of them were recorded with like a little Audient 2 input. And that's the point, is it's teaching you and showing you all of the different ways that you can record. So that's the main question I wanted to ask, is like, what's the difference? Oh, and the one most amazing difference is not only is it $99 if you buy it on Black Friday. I'm sounding so salesy, but whatever. Not only is it only $99 today, what is great about it is you can do the monthly, which is only $17, which I believe is the most inexpensive, even though we offer the most amount of information. There's also free lessons inside of there that come up every week. There's all my free drum samples, all that stuff. But the great thing is you get a multi-track every month. Some months you get 2 multi-tracks. And, or somebody's saying, how do you properly mix Indian instruments? That's a great one. You have to find the fundamental frequencies and realize that you just need top end for the percussiveness as you hit it, and then find out what the fundamental frequency is so that you can put it into the mix. Because if you try to treat it too wide and too big, it'll just take up too much room. So you need to sit there and just fit it in if it's a dense mix. I've always had a fun time with percussion and, particularly tamboras and all that kind of stuff, Anyway, so essentially, you get a multi-track each month, sometimes 2 multi-tracks, but the best thing about it is we do mixed critiques. So, yeah, there you go. Somebody here, let's change the subject for a second. Somebody's pointing to the fact about gear. And I just said that, we do, in the Academy, we do mixes done on stuff that's recorded in huge studios, all the way down to stuff that's recorded in like a home environment so that you can learn all this different stuff. Somebody's just pointing out that Ulrich Wild records all of the Def Clock stuff and everything he does using Behringer mic pre's on the guitars. And he shot out a lot of mic pre's and he loves that. Though our tracks should get the same mixing quality when produced like a pro, please answer. Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point. We're providing multi-tracks for you. And if you go to yesterday's video, those of you watching here, go to yesterday's YouTube video and you can download Hey Lady. And Hey Lady is a song by Steve Magora. I play guitar on it as well. It was a great lineup of musicians. Steve is a wonderful singer and he's an amazing keyboard player. And you can download his multi-tracks and you can get an idea of what it's like. There's also tons of free multi-tracks that we do. I mean, the thing about, thank you, I'm glad you're enjoying the multi-track. So if you haven't already, go to yesterday's video and download it. I'm sure the Matts can also, Matt Diamante and Matt McQueen can also post a link to yesterday's video and links to the multi-tracks as well. So check out yesterday's video. It was all about Thanksgiving. We were talking about wonderful channels out there. We were talking about, of course, Graham Cochran's channel comes up a lot because I think the best way I can describe Graham and why I think he's so successful is he's an incubator channel. Does that make sense to everybody? He is the channel that gets everybody started. Without him, there wouldn't be as many people. Lots of people here are saying an amazing track. Hey, lady, it is a great track. I'm going to answer some quick questions. What bass guitar and amp do you recommend for recording? I've had you say it before. Well, the bass guitar, I mean, I have a Mexican jazz bass I love with Seymour Duncan pickups. Amp-wise, I think there's a lot of really great amps on the market. I don't know if I would specifically... mine was a used Ashdown, and it was about $300 or $400. I think if you've got... Have you got any kind of budget? It depends what your budget is. If you're going to spend a lot of money, then of course an Ampeg B15 at $1,000 to $1,500 is the industry standard bass amp. It's a wonderful bass amp, but that comes down to like how much do you want to spend, I think we're in this world now, and this is a really important thing. We're in this incredible world now where at a certain price point, there's so much choice and everything is so much better. When I was a kid growing up in the 70s and 80s, in the 70s and 80s, if you didn't spend a lot of money, you got things that didn't last. The quality was really, really bad. Now, at that sort of $500 price range, there's so many great mics. There's so many great IOs. There's so many great everythings. It's amazing what you can get. You know, there's some incredible stuff. So you can avoid the super, super cheap stuff, and you can avoid the incredibly expensive, and you can get in the middle and get so much value for money. Okay, quick question. What is a low-frequency instrument that's been recorded is not low enough, considering it be recorded again? You know, you can use, depending on what plugins you've got, you can use there's a lot of plugins that add low end. You've just got to make sure you sculpt it. But yes, you can add low end from a lot of different sources. So many great questions coming in so thick and fast here. Max Bass, somebody is saying here. Yeah, Max Bass is great. R Bass is great. There's some really, really good. See, somebody here saying in 1980 you either bought a Neumann or you had to almost no other choice. That's very true. We live in a very, very great time here. We've got to break down a lot of barriers of snobbery in gear. As you know, there's a lot of snobbery, and it's great that I'm sitting next to an SSL. So I don't want to sound like a hypocrite. That is an SSL. It's an SSL 4000. The most expensive thing about this console is paying the electricity bill. It is massive. But actually, the maintenance on it's pretty darn good because, of course, Bruce from Desk Doctor is arguably the greatest SSL tech ever to live. He's absolutely amazing. He does wonderful work here in Los Angeles and keeps everything running. So you have a great tech, but ultimately the biggest expense for having a big console like this, an SSL in particular, is the electricity bill. Now, as you can see, I have lots of really nice equipment, but I also have lots of inexpensive equipment. And like lots of things, like if you see where my finger's going, like over here, this sort of area, there's some nice mic pre's and stuff like that. However, they were really super cheap when I got them. They've become vintage. You know, that's the thing about equipment. You know, here is a Yamaha acoustic, which I believe is like $600 or $700, and it's solid top. I mean, that proves my point. A $600-700 solid top acoustic. When I was a kid, there was no such thing. It was like $1,000 to $1,500 entry-level acoustic. We're living in a different time. So I think it's very, not wanting to shoot down people's questions, because of course PreSonus make incredible gear. Audient, great company. We love them dearly. They're very generous with us. They give us a lot of stuff to give away. Audient do wonderful things, and they do stuff that we use every single day. And then, of course, but PreSonus are amazing. I personally use Pro Tools, and I love it. But there's lots of other great DAWs. If you've got a DAW that you know really well, whether it's Cubase or Reaper or Studio One or Pro Tools, whatever it might, FL Studio somebody was just talking about. If you've got one of those, you can make great, great work. It says, I have some high-pass end loss at 16K in my ears. I'm spinning my meals trying to... That's a really, really good question. As we get older, and remember, as we get older, Acid, somebody's saying, as we get older, we end up losing like 15 to 16K and above. It doesn't matter. Once you're at that certain age group, it disappears. So it's the same for all people. What you have to do, you have to get acquired knowledge. You have to then balance like knowing when to boost and when not to boost. If you're in your 40s and above, and it doesn't sound super, super high and airy above, watch yourself. If you're sitting there and you're putting 6-7 dB at 10K and above, trying to hear that 15 to 20 area, if you're going crazy up there, then what you're really doing is just making it overly bright. I remember being like 9, 10, 11 and discovering music. You remember that feeling of being 9, 10, or 11 when you first get into music and you're so excited? You know, and I remember putting on like an album. Who was it? I can't remember which band it was. I think it was ELO. And the first thing I did was reach for the treble on my parents' stereo and turn it down. I turned the treble down. Why? Because I was 9, 10, 11 years old, and the guys making the records were 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. And they were mastering it, and they basically we're making it sound great for them, but for a young kid, it's super bright. If I play the music in this room here for my son at a decent-ish level, at like 90, 95 dB, which is, you know, loud playback, but not overly loud. You should mix around about 85, as you know. But playback, my son, if he's sitting over here, always says, "Dad, it's so loud." But you and I know that, you know, 90, 95 dB is just rock and roll listening. You shouldn't listen to it for great periods of time, but most of the time when you go into studios, people are listening at those kind of volumes. I do agree with a lot of rock mixers. It's like you do have to mix loud, but only for short periods of time. You need to like have the speakers going, you need to crank it, see what it feels like loud, and then bring it down to a nice even level where you can hear everything evenly. You do need to experience that because you need to know what it's like for people that love like big loud rock music or love big loud hip hop. You know, when you go to, are you talking about my wife's guitar? Oh, it's over there somewhere. Oh yeah, that's my wife's guitar, yeah. Okay, so, oh, there's the, oh, they set up the raffle. Look at that. Can you put it up on Facebook as well? So we're doing a, look at that, they did it already. So everybody, there's a lifetime membership raffle going up. Enter the raffle. Well done, gentlemen. Very nicely done, the Mats. I think that's a great, and that, whose idea was that? That was somebody online here. Fantastic. So I'm going to try and cherry pick some comments here. We've got so many Q&A. Can you, oh, and would you all do me a favor? We have lots of people watching, which is absolutely fantastic, and I feel very blessed. Would you all like and share? Hit the little like and hit the share button and share it for me, because apparently the wonderful people at YouTube, who we love, won't really push a video unless it's liked and shared, you know. So if we want people to get involved in the Q&A, help each other, please like and share. I don't want to sound like I'm hocking myself, but I suppose I am. So please like and share. Stam Audio Stereo Pre or BAE single. I haven't used the Stam. I have used the BAE, and I have lots of BAE, and I do lots of work with them, and they've been very reliable, and they sound amazing. But I don't want to put down a Stam because I've never used it. I'm trying to be really honest. There's gear I love. I mean, look, over there, as you can see, is a late 70s, early 80s Yamaha acoustic, which I've had for 20 years, maybe longer, and that's a wonderful guitar. I remember when I was being interviewed once, somebody said to me, "What piece of equipment, if you could only take one from your studio, would you take?" And I said, that guitar. It's only because like half of the songs I've written in my life have been written on that guitar. Anyway, yes, please like and share. So look, people are saying here the Stam SA73 is killer. It sounds close to a 1073. Somebody's saying here, starting a project, keeping the momentum going. I'm a YouTuber considering virtual deadlines and stuff. Yeah, I mean, that's a really great question. Setting up deadlines is wonderful. You know, that's a really wonderful thing. You know, allowing yourself enough time to complete a project realistically, though. That's a really good idea. We need to allow ourselves enough time. Oh, the Waves Abbey Road bundle, quick question. Love it. It's really good. It's really good. I've never done the Points Blank Music School, and I don't know anybody that has done it, so I can't answer that question. What camera do I use? We have a couple. We have like a couple of mid-price Canons. We have a mid-price Canon, a mid-price Nikon, and a Lumix. So we actually have 3 different cameras, depending on what I'm going to do. Okay, so I can't, yes, just wanted to answer some of these questions in general. Just in general, if I've never used something, I'm not going to have an opinion on it. And I try, because I know a lot of people have opinions on everything. Have you noticed that? You know, people have opinions on everything. I don't, because I can't have an opinion on a piece of gear that I've not used properly. I can give you an opinion on API, Neve, Lewitt, Shure, Neumann, AKG, any microphone, pretty much standard classic microphone I can tell you about, and I can tell you the usage. I can tell you about PreSonus stuff because I have very good friends I trust that use PreSonus to give me lots of great opinions. I can give you opinions about the different DAWs I've used, like Logic and Cubase I grew up using, and of course Pro Tools I use daily. I can do all that. I think it's important that I let you know that I firmly believe that in our sort of price range now that most people have got, there's so much wonderful stuff that's available. What is my vocal chain? Great question. Okay, Perfect World vocal chain. Please like and share. Perfect World vocal chain, honestly, is either a Neumann, I'm being honest, U47/U48, or the Lewitt LCT 940. I talked about the LCT 940 first about a year or two ago. No, maybe 2 years ago, and I know Graham Coxon, you know, the guitar player from Blur, he bought one because of it, and really likes it. So, and I have a lot of converts to the LCT 940. I think that might be my favorite new high-end mic. What I mean by that is it's over $1,000. So there's lots of really Wonder Audio make great mics. Yes, there's lots of really good things. So that's usually my mic. When I'm throwing money at it, it's a U47/U48. I have one of each. And then I use a 1073, and I have the BAE 1073 going into a DBX 160 VU, compressing about 3:1, going into a 20:1 1176, catching the occasional peak. And most of the guys that have mixed my vocals love the way they're recorded because, you know, I've got great microphones, either the Neumann or the Lewitt. I've got a great mic pre in the BAE 1073. I've got a really nice compression chain there. So it's a lot of money. I would say that on a budget, get something of the API-ish, Neve-ish quality, and you can, if you like, bypass compressing going on the way in, especially if you're starting. If you're starting, you don't need to compress on the way in. You can learn that skill as you go, you know. Yeah, somebody's saying stage compression is a good idea. If you're not staging your compression, you're gonna catch. Yeah, basically yes. It's a way to work. What's somebody else is asking me here? The mic. I was saying, the microphone. The cheapest mic I use on vocals, of course, is an SM57. The medium price mic that I use on vocals is an LCT 550 by Lewitt. The next up in price is an LCT 940, and then right up above that, of course, is LCT 550 is a microphone I use a lot, and then above that, of course, we're in the realms of Neumann's U47s and U48s. I feel like. And I did grow up using 87s, and I did grow up using U67s. 87s in particular, you know, are very usable. But for me, and this is going to be contentious, but it's just my humble personal opinion, it's a tough sell at $2,500 these days. I feel like somebody was pointing out earlier, yes, U47, very expensive. I felt like back in those days, MXL mics are fantastic for the price. I think back in the days of a U87, sorry, at $2,500, $2,000, it was a place when there was nothing that came close. Now, and I think probably the Delphos microphone gets a lot of love, the Roswell mics, and they start from, the Mini K47 starts at $299. That might be my number one pick in that price range. I think you go Mini K47, sorry, Mini K47, going to the LCT 550, going to the LCT 940. There's a lot of good mics. Now, don't get me wrong, we are going to do a review of the most popular home recordist microphone, which is the Rode NT1. They've given us a couple of mics to try out, so we're going to do some really serious reviews. Rode are a good company, a great company that have that we bought the little clip-on mics. Those are actually Rode. We use a Rode lapel, and we did have one break. Just got the cable got pulled out and it broke. And when we wrote to them, they responded by giving it to us for free. We bought them originally, so they did give it to us for free, and they sent some NT1s to also try out. Somebody here is praising the Delphos. There's people praising the Rhodes, praising the MXRs, praising the Lewitts. I think we're making a point here The reason why I have a little bit of an affinity for the Lewitts, if you don't already know, is it's actually an ex-AKG guy who started the company, and I feel like they have brought this... they brought that sort of mentality of AKG, which is an incredible company, but they're making them, as you know, in China, but then they're shipping them back and testing them all and, you know, throwing out the ones that don't meet the certain tolerances. So I think that that's a wonderful thing, you know, that's really wonderful that's got the Austrian design and then the quality control, because QC is what it's all about, really, isn't it? You know, beyond a QC. Yeah, the Loughton's fantastic. We have one of those to try. Yeah, unfortunately, like Chronix is saying, AKG closed down their Vienna factory, which I think is one of the saddest things ever. I think, okay, so just to change the subject. So you can raffle and win. You can go into the raffle and win the lifetime membership to the Produce Like a Pro Academy. It's posted, I think that the guys will post it also underneath the video afterwards. Motu, I haven't used Motu stuff for a while, but it was always really good. I don't hear it as much, the name as much as I used to. So if you go to the Facebook, those of you on Facebook will see the lifetime membership. If Matt, here it is again. So Matt, one of the Matts has reposted it. Yeah, I like the Aston. We tried it out in the academy. And just so you know, I do super fearless reviews, especially in the academy, because people go there to really know. And I really humbly liked the Aston. It's really hyped on the top end. All of you know it's very good for just sticking on an acoustic guitar in particular and a vocal in particular and having this high-end breadth. So when you come to mix, it's already all super boosted. People love it for that. But I didn't feel like it was as flat and as usable in most situations. But as people are pointing out here, or somebody's pointed out, it is incredibly inexpensive. And I think in a world of an arsenal of microphones, I think when you have a lot of microphones, it might be it's a good one to have with other microphones. And I think that that's really good. And this is just my opinion. I've been blessed, and I am blessed to own 50 or 100 microphones. And over the years, I've owned pretty much everything, and now that I've got to try the Roswell stuff and the Lewitt stuff and use AKGs and use Rhodes, and I'm starting to realize just how wonderful it is now to make music. What headphone amp do I use? I have a few. I have the one that's built into the SSL. I have the Neve one, which is absolutely fantastic and sounds amazing. But if you've got the money, and this is a big if, this is not a pushing on it, the Little Labs one sounds absolutely unbelievable. Little Labs headphone amp sounds amazing. Everybody that's heard it, I'm not talking about the specs and the fighting and the arguments about how it's made. Everybody that's heard it thinks it's unbelievable. But this comes down to, there's a lot of people watching here asking me questions about microphones and pieces of equipment that are in the $200 to $300 price range. Oh, nothing's nothing. You said you have that, the Little Labs. Well, that's the point. I mean, if you've got the budget, because it's expensive, if you've got it, then the Little Labs is second to none. Everybody, yes, the Grace Designs one is wonderful as well. But of all the ones I've heard, it sounds amazing. Now, the Rupert Neve one, we shot out against the SSL, which is wonderful. The SSL headphone amp sounds amazing. I mixed with that. And to be honest, the Neve sounded at least as good as the SSL one, if not better. And it is cheaper than Little Labs. But this is the world we live in. It's all just about every question that we get asked has to be tempered with the piece of information of what's your budget? Because of course, we can all tell you the best of everything. But stuff is so much closer now, as somebody was earlier pointing out. In 1980, it was either a Gibson guitar, Fender guitar, Fender amp, Marshall amp, Trace Elliott, all of these different things. Gear was Neve, API, SSL, and a few other exceptions. But, it was like everything that was great was really expensive. And you walked into studios when we were kids, even the most... even the most humble kind of demo studios had thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gear. You know, a reverb, even a cheap reverb when I was a kid, was like £200. Alesis were a couple of £100. You know, which is like $300 or $400 in the 80s, and they were amazing. But the Lexicons were thousands, well over 1,000 and 2,000. So the point is like now you open up your DAW, and you've got, you know, all of those different wonderful reverbs. The Valhalla reverb is fantastic. Yes. Do I mix techno? I used to do. Quad Reverb is amazing. I still have one, Jay. It's over here in the rack over here, and I have a Microverb. And a lot of people know the secret of the Alesis reverbs. They've got so much graininess to them. They sound fantastic. If you've got the time and you can go out of your DAW and print multi-effects, try it. The Quad Reverb is amazing. Okay, so in the Academy, we answer a lot of this stuff. Like I was saying, we did the Aston mic stuff there. And because, you know, you can win the lifetime membership, go to it. They're going to post it again for you now. I see it up here on Facebook. Let's post it again. We're giving away a lifetime membership to the Academy. And today, it is a whopping $99 for 1 year membership. And if you join it for a year, I think you get, can one of the Matts answer? How many multi-tracks do we have in there for free? How many multi-tracks do we have in there for free? Anybody, any idea? 22, 23... 24. Liquid Sonic 7th Heaven. I haven't tried that yet. I'm sure it's great. 25. So we have 25 multi-tracks in there that you can download at the moment, and we add 1 to 2 a month. At the moment, we're doing 1 a month. Sometimes we do 2 a month. Sometimes we do more. So you're going to get all of that for 99 whopping dollars. Or me, I'm always right. I'm never always right. What was the question? It's hard to read these. They're going so fast. I am definitely not. Does yours say made in California or China? I'm not sure what you mean. Or are you asking somebody else? I think maybe you're asking somebody else. This is so mad. So many interested in mixing. Oh yeah, it's wonderful. Get a bigger phone. Well, the thing is like if I turn it up so it's portrait like this, I can read more messages. You can see like 8, and I do have the plus. However, last time I did that so that I could answer your questions and be really helpful, I got destroyed, particularly by Chronix here, for putting the thing up. Because that's the point. I want to try and help people, so I put it up portrait. And see, when you have your phone portrait, even on a plus like I've got, you can see like 2 or 3 times the amount of questions. It's really wonderful. So I was trying to help out a lot of people, but when I put it up like that, I get attacked because I'm not doing it properly. So, you know, it's God bless America. This is the world we live in. We're trying to help. We're trying to help people. Chronix, we're on both devices. You really have to pay attention. We've got Facebook and YouTube going. We're answering questions in both areas. Anyway, luckily Facebook is always a little slower than YouTube. Anyway, there's a lot of experts here. Let's just get back to not being. Let's got being back to knowing everything. My point is like, I'm not an expert. What my job is here to do is to help facilitate and help people. That's what I love about what everybody does here is they are helping each other. It really is a wonderful community of musicians and producers, and these days I'm not an expert, but I appreciate it. Coming videos, I'll talk about that in a minute. So these days there's you know, we have anybody that's a musician, anybody that can play guitar, bass, drums, keyboards, program, whatever, is a potential, you know, has a potential of being a producer. Let's be honest. But obviously, production is a very, very big question now. What is a producer, you know? When I was a kid, a producer was quite a big task. Sometimes they were engineers, sometimes they were musicians, sometimes they were both, sometimes they were composers, sometimes they were all three. Any bands I've recorded that have made it big? Yeah, The Fray. Loads of bands. Yeah, The Fray's a big one that I worked with early on. There's a lot of different. I mean, I have to stop and literally list all the bands and think about all the bands that I worked with. Thank you. That that ended up becoming successful, but I had a lot of bands that I helped develop, and at the moment I'm developing a band that are getting a big record deal. Because believe it or not, even though yesterday I was called a YouTuber, it's funny because I never thought of myself as a YouTuber. I thought of myself as a producer, an engineer, and mixer who does this every day, that does YouTube videos to help people and create this kind of, like we're doing with the Academy, is try and create a place where everybody can help each other and learn. I didn't realize that in some people's minds I'm a YouTuber. Isn't that? I know that sounds silly because you're watching me here on YouTube, but you know, I don't know who called me a YouTuber, but thank you, most handsome YouTuber. Well, I have a YouTube channel, just like almost every producer, engineer, friend of mine has a YouTube channel. I just think that we're blessed that people like this. They like it and they watch it in a decent amount of numbers. Yeah, I'm just another guy like everybody else. And I've got great sideburns that there's grey hairs coming out of. Yeah, thank you. No, but look, the reality is, thanks for that comment. But the reality is like, I am not a professional YouTuber. It's what I am is, this is what I do every day. Like, it's just that luckily at 1:27 in the afternoon in Los Angeles, I am talking about this because basically I've decided to take most of the day off because I worked all through the weekend last weekend and I've got to work tomorrow. Mikey Pauker's coming over, you know, so it's great. Anyway, the Academy, I'm going to go back to it because I'm getting asked about that and it's moving so fast. So the thing about, do I know Dave Sardi's Mixing Secrets? I'm going to stop and answer that question. Yes, I've worked with Dave Sardi. And yes, Shelly Yakus will be on a lot more. I did 3 albums with Dave Sardi, and I mixed with him. What did we do? Towers of London, and I assisted on Look What You've Done. You've made some of the Jet stuff, and I did all the pre-production on the second Jet record. Yeah, Joe Parisi Part 2 would be great. We've been threatening that forever. So for me, this is what I do every day. I make music, and it was funny to be called a YouTuber because it's the first time anybody ever called me a YouTuber. What I had done is I'd sent out an email, and the headline was, "Can I be real?" You know, what I did is did you guys read it? What I did is I talked about my journey of, like, you know, growing up with a father who's an artist, who's a painter, who unfortunately is very ill at the moment and has been really stressful this week, just to let you know. Not trying to be too personal, but it's very stressful. But my father's an artist and he's a painter, and so I grew up with that, you know. And I thank you very much. So what happened is, music was this sort of thing that I was passionate about, and we didn't really have any money, you know, not wanting to make my parents feel bad, but we didn't grow up with any money. So I didn't have the advantages of going to, you know, music school. I grew up in a very small area, so we had great music shops around about. There was one called Kingfisher that was close, and then of course there was Anderton's, which is still going and very successful. Yes, in Crookham Village. So it was a beautiful part of the world, don't get me wrong, but there wasn't like a vibrant music scene. I had to, you know, I just bought albums by Queen. Oh, nice, you're near there. I bought albums by Queen and ELO and all these wonderful artists, and I was very blessed to be able to do that and listen to this incredible music, but that's what got me into it. And then I didn't go to a music school. I actually went to art school and did painting, thinking I wanted to be my dad. Isn't that like every musician in England? Started off, you know, going to art school, and my first bands were like, you know, I did... You know, do you know this song? Oh, nice. Pilot, painter, and musician. That's a combination. As you probably know, I'm fascinated by flight, and I've taken some flying lessons, but I stopped when my kids were born. Obsessed with flying. You know, absolutely obsessed with flying. Hence why my studio's called stuff like that. Hey, there's a good question here about budgets and stuff. I'm going to address that. You know, so anyway, so to cut a long story short, so I sent out that email just to really talk about my journey and tell people about the Academy, because yeah, Spitfire was an awesome plane. The reason why was because the best time to talk about it is like on a Black Friday, because we're selling the you know, at $99, so we're selling it super cheap. And then of course the guys have just set up the Win a Lifetime membership, which is also fantastic. So it's a really wonderful opportunity to tell people about it and tell my story. But somebody picked up on that and posted online like it was a sales tactic, because I said, can I be real? And then I found out from all of these different people, you know, by, you know, people, I don't know how, well, the best way of, is that, you know, apparently that's a common sales technique to say, can I be real? And it's like, oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, as the Irish would say. And I have Irish family, by the way. So I just thought it was like, you know, song from scratch tutorial. Be careful what you wish for, coming up very soon. So, you know, so it was that kind of thing. It's just like, as we say in England, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. How important is business insurance in the industry? If you've got a, no, I'm English, but I have Irish family. And I have Scottish family as well. You know, it's just like, it's one of those things where you can, you know, the thing about doing the Academy that's been really great for me is that there's a lot of people here, like their names are flying up here, that are members, that what they do is they get involved here and they're leaving really positive responses. Like I'm looking at the Facebook here, I'm looking at the YouTube, and it's just full of people. And it's just really, it's really wonderful that these are people. Oh yes, I used to live in Cumbria. Yeah, I lived in Cumbria for a few years. I loved it. I'll sing another day. Anyway, so somebody's asking over on Facebook about being a musician, about being a guitar player. You know, and I think it's, look, I had this discussion with Rick Beato, whose channel that if you're not watching, you should watch. You know, and it's a wonderful channel. And we talked about the question that not everybody likes being asked, and I understand why. Is being a musician useful to being a producer? Yes, it is. I really do think it is. But you don't have to be a musician. But is it a useful attribute? Of course, because, you know, I can pick up the guitar and I can say to a musician, you know, hey, let's work on the song, you know, and I could say to them, look, you know, here's the 1-4-5 chord progression, and I could say to them, well, when we go to the bridge, just go to the 6. I can tell them, hey, here's a 5. It's a great leading chord to the 1. The chorus has the 1, or you can use the 5 even to lead to the 6. You know, there's all of these really, really obvious kind of things that are obvious to musicians, obvious to people that study songwriting, obvious to people that compose. So, and it doesn't have to be, you can play acoustic guitar and program EDM music. There's no reason why you have to, you know, you can understand music and theory on any instrument and apply it to any kind of production idea. So I think that's what's really interesting. Hey, so we have 247 people watching on YouTube. That's amazing. 248. Would you all like and share? Please, I would really appreciate it if you liked and shared. It's apparently the way that YouTube lets everybody know that I'm online. So please like and share. Oh, we went up to 253 people. Please just hit that like button and share. And the same for the wonderful world of Facebook. Please like and share. Oh yeah, share on Twitter, share on Facebook, just share-tastic. So yesterday, go check out the what's your instrument? This is Yamaha LL16. Please like and share. We're getting there. We're almost hitting as many likes as we are people watching. You yelled out the window. Well, I'm glad to see that. So what was I saying? Yes, so this is a Yamaha LL16. So the Academy, like I said, the thing that we love about the Academy is that it's got so many of these people here that you're seeing asking question. Yes, Nashville number system makes life easy. There's a technical question there about you were talking about yesterday. Yeah, well, I was talking like and shared. Thank you. Please like and share. Oh, somebody doesn't like my monitors. That's okay. You yelled out Warren is live. Okay, cool. Yeah, yell that out of the finger. I do have some UAD stuff. I haven't got into it yet, so I can't really tell it. I think I'm going to buy the K47. Would you recommend the Avatone CV12? I've never shot them out, so I can't really tell you which one I prefer. I will tell you the Mini K47 is absolutely wonderful. How can I approach rap instrumentals that have bad samples? Everything in the mix will sound fine, but the sample, should I mix it dark and then make everything dark in mastering? I mean, I'm not entirely sure I'd have to hear them, but if they're really distorted in an unpleasing way, then you will have to go in there on the high end. Remember, one of the best ways to control uncontrollable, seemingly uncontrollable high end is to use a de-esser, because it's just a really pretty form of multiband compressing high end, so I would try that. Does my wife watch my videos? Does my wife watch them? Sometimes. I mean, we've got 2 kids, so we've got a lot going on. We've got children. I've got guys that work for me full time. I've got a lot of stuff going on beyond producing, engineering, mixing, playing guitar, writing songs, and doing. I'm located in Los Angeles, my wife's guitar, I'd have to plug it in. Tell my wife to tell you where you get your shirts. I think she gets, I have no idea off the top of my head. Currently building a studio at home. And they said, I'm in a tough situation on what drum kit to buy, which is a good all-rounder. Do you have suggestions? That's an interesting thing. Is there any drummers watching? Do we have AJ on? It's an interesting one with the drum kits. I feel like it's probably similar that when you're close to $1,000, you've got a lot of choice. I think people are saying Pearl, are saying Yamaha. I feel like people are saying what's your budget? When do I sleep? Not a lot. I pretty much wake up, get online, do some work, go and record music, mix some songs, produce some tracks, do some co-writing, do some conference calls, make some videos, go back to sleep, and play with the kids and have food in between. So this is what I do. My wife is a full-time mother, and she's a stay-at-home mum, and she helps educate our kids and looks after them and is very traditional, and I'm very blessed. So it's about that. If I'm going to work those kind of hours, then you have to do it, and you have to find people in your life that are supportive of you, and you have to be supportive of them. So, it's really one of those things. It's a good life lesson. Derek Wicketer said he's upgraded to Waves Mercury in Abbey Road today. Too good a deal to pass up. Oh, is that why people are asking? Because they're doing an Abbey Road sale? Yeah. What do I think about the Mackie? I've made records on Mackies and ADATs when I came up. A couple of them charted. I had songs in the charts that were recorded on a Mackie and an ADAT. There you go. Mackie console, ADATs, songs charted. Yeah. I've had songs charted that were recorded on 1-inch 24. Everything. It's, you name it. It's not really the gear, it's just not. Do I miss cutting tape? Nah, I mean, you can't see on this shot, but over there is a Studer. Let me see if I can turn it a little bit. See it in the corner? That's a Studer A80. Do I miss cutting tape? No, I don't miss cutting tape. I mean, I like the time of stopping and doing it. It was nice to have that break when you were in the studio and do those kind of things, but I don't miss it. I don't think anybody misses spending a long time doing something that might not quite. Studio maybe 3-4 months ago was the last time I used it. I just don't use it that often because I'm not working on long-term projects as much. Like I'm doing an album starting next week. I'm finishing off an EP. I just mixed a record for Rick Springfield. I'm going to be mixing Ace Frehley's album soon. I'm going to be mixing the Yardbirds' new album with Jimmy Page is playing guitar on it. I'm doing a lot of rock stuff at the moment. You know, Yardbirds, Jimmy Page, Ace Frehley, Rick. You know, a lot of more rock-orientated stuff. But, you know, the albums I've been making the last couple of months have been, have been more like organic acoustic guitar-based stuff. As you know, I did 2 Trevor Hall records, albums, Chapter of the Forest and Carla. With Page. I'm also mixing an album from an artist from Hawaii that follows us here. I'm working with an artist from Nashville's coming in. All about, there's a lot of good stuff coming on. So basically, that's what I do. If I didn't do YouTube, because I'm a YouTuber apparently now, if I didn't do YouTube, I would still be insanely busy. I'm still working on 4 or 5 projects at once at all times. Yes, I do workshops, but this is what I do with my workshops is I don't publicly talk about them. And I know this sounds trite, but I only talk about it in the academy. I have a workshop next weekend, and it's a mixing workshop, and it was for all of the guys that went to my workshop in the academy. So we had 10 places and they sold out in 3 hours, and we only sold them to academy members. And why, you might ask, why do I do that? The reason why I only sell it to academy members is because the academy is a curated place. It's like the people that are in there, it's not like the major trolling event that you get in most of these places where everybody's on the forums going, you suck, bruh, you don't know what you're doing, bruh. Like all of this trolling that's just stops people from getting good and stops people from helping each other. In the academy, we don't have any time for that. If somebody comes in and starts trolling, we just eject them and give them their money back. So it's quite easy. We just keep it really super positive. It's just like, that's... Can I do an American accent? Oh, I have no idea. I always back up. I have everything in 2 to 3 places at all time. I have 2 identical drives on everything I do, and then I have a third drive just for mix files. So it's in 3 places at all times. Two places when working, and then Irish is a very good accent. I grew up with a family of Irish. So we keep the trolls out. There's no reason for that. So I tend to do the workshops. It's the workshops. I only offer it up for academy members. I see a lot of my peers that have channels and they're promoting their workshops online. I just don't do that because I want the workshops to be people I know. These are people that are going to be hanging out with me. And they're wonderful guys like Lem and David and Keith, not Kevin, not Ken, and Jeff McDonald, and these are, Patrick, everybody, JJ, Scotty, I'm trying up to, it's just like, there's so many people, great people, and you become friends with them, and the great thing about Rob, and you get all of these people and Ron, and these people come and they become your friends, and we help each other, and this is what. Yes, that's what I mean. Yes, Antonio, you can pay me. I do that. Europe, yes, we're going to do some stuff in Europe as well. But basically, I keep it really so serious. Am I serious? So I keep it about like, a family feeling of helping each other, Anyway, please, there's 265 people on. This is amazing. Would you like and share, please? Well, thank you, Henry. I appreciate it. Hi, you're new. Hi, Diamond. Tracking workshops. Yes, that's what we did. We had Greg D'Angelo, who's one of my best friends, who I actually hung out with yesterday for Thanksgiving. We will need to talk about Dave Sardi. I was going to answer that question in a second. Sorry, I will get back to that question you asked about 10 minutes ago. Yes, please like and share. Please like and share it places so that YouTube knows that we have this video live. Anyway, So what was I saying? I'll do the Dave Sardi thing in a moment. Talk about the Academy. Yes. So Greg D'Angelo was the drummer at Sunset. The bass player was Tony Franklin. And the guitar player was that kid Christian Vey, who's like 18, 19 years old and a shredder. If you go back to the video, guys, would you do this? Matt, would you post a link to the video that has the link to download all the files? You know, we recorded it with the Sunset Sound mic pre's and their incredible mic collection, but we also recorded it on an Audient as well. So you can download all the files, and the guys are going to give you a link to that now. You can go and watch the video, which would be good. So maybe a link to the video would be fantastic. And also, after this video is finished, guys, would you make sure all these links are underneath the YouTube video when we finish up? We're going to do a lot of work with amp simulators this coming year. I'm very, 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 very impressed with where everything's going. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed the Claret video. I'm very impressed with the way things are going. So we need to really start talking about. Somebody here is saying they've reconsidered their next purchase because of the Audient video. Yeah. So Matt, would you please post that link to the video where you can download all of the Audient stuff? Thank you very much, Real Home Recording. This is so wonderful doing a live video on the day after Thanksgiving. This is wonderful. Yes, I know. Lots of people have been talking about it. In the Academy, they've been talking about it for the last 2 days. Yeah, I cannot believe Chronix just talked about it. 2 other people have brought it up. It's really tough. I mean, I can't believe they shut down Cakewalk. I would have thought there would be somebody out there who'd want to buy it. Wouldn't there? Am I wrong? Wasn't there like a company out there that could have taken it over? Yeah, it's really crazy. Thank you very much. Oh, Friday evening there in Europe? Well, I'm wonderful. All right, so people are asking me about Dave Sardi. Dave Sardi's very elusive with videos. I actually see him all the time. He lives up the street from me. So I do actually see him a lot. He's not big on doing videos and probably gets asked all the time to do them. But I will say, and I'm not going to surmise what he does, but I will say, because I got asked about this by my good friend Cameron Webb the other day, about Dave's sound. A lot of what Dave does is he uses the console very constructively. He does mix on a console, and when we were doing records like the Towers of London thing, when we mixed that, Jet, all of those Hot Heat and the Thrills, at that period, he would use the EQ selection points on the console. Now, what does that mean? That means that when you've got a Neve and you can boost 60 on a kick and you can cut 220 or 360, it creates a certain... Thank you for posting it, Matt. Go click on that link that just came up, please, everybody, to get those files so you can hear the Audient, you can hear the Lewitt microphones. Please click on it. Oh, also, anybody that's got the Mixing Math Rock, anybody that's got the Mixing Math Rock by Glenn Fricker, if you're an Academy member, you can post it in the Academy. I believe Sam has already put up the forum post, and Glenn is going to review them all. So if you're an Academy member, any Academy members watching, if you've got the Mixing Math Rock, which today is $18.50, so it's like basically like a packet of cigarettes in America. About the same. Isn't that crazy over here? Cigarettes are like $12. So for the price of a packet of cigarettes, pretty much you can buy a vocal chain was the Neve 1176, and probably U47 or 67, depending on which song. So getting back to Sardi for a second. So those EQ points. So that's a big secret in. That's a big secret in see, £10 in the UK. That's like nearly £15 over here. So the $15 over here. So for the price of a cigarette, most of the world, you can go and buy Mixing Math Rock by Glenn Fricker, especially if you're an Academy member, because you can also post it, and he is going to, for all the Academy members watching. How old am I? I'm 975. Yes, I'm glad you don't smoke. I used to smoke years ago. Oh, only $3 in Poland. Well, that's good. But anyway, back to the point. So if you want to get more of a Sade sound, I would suggest you know, especially if you want the older sound, that you use maybe like Stevens. They're inexpensive. Stevens British simulation, where you know it's obviously a Neve. You know that one he does, where he's got the Neve mic pre's, the Neve looking and sounding mic pre's with the Neve EQs. If you go to that, and his Stevens, what is it now? Can anybody tell me? What's the Slate Everything? What's the Slate Everything bundle now? It's probably on a deal at the moment. Thank you. I'm good looking for 975. 148. So it's $14 a month. Okay, thank you for answering. So for $14.99 a month, you can get the Everything bundle, which I believe is completely reasonable. Waves as well. Don't get me wrong. I love Waves. I don't have a. I'm not a snob with this stuff. You know, I've used everything and I like it. You know, there's so much great stuff, but I do like how affordable. I do like how affordable the Slate stuff is. I think that's really. Somebody guess, see? Same age as Doctor Who. That's why I say 975. Ha ha ha! There's some smart people out there, and some Doctor Who fans. Anyway, thank you, Paul. So the thing about the Slate Everything bundle is like you can get, and I think it's probably on a deal at the moment. Somebody said they just bought the Slate drums. I'm going to go back to this Sade thing. Don't worry. So the thing about it is like, that's why I'm talking about Sade, is like you can use the EQ points that create that sound. Now, there's something very specific about it. You think about Back in Black, I believe it was mixed on a Neve, but it was recorded, I think, on an MCI. A lot of people talk about it, but it was mixed on a Neve. There's something about it, or like Highway to Hell and stuff like that. There's something about those records which have, yes, rest in peace, Malcolm. They have those EQ points that sound really musical. So basically, you can go to 60 hertz and boost it, and you get the low end of the kick. You can pull out 220 or 360 and get rid of the low mids. You can boost the 220 on a low end of an electric guitar. You can boost the 110 on the low end of a bass. Are you getting the point now? Try doing a mix like that. Try doing a mix using only Neve style EQs. And for $14.99, we should do that. So what I think that will give you what you think of as a classic sound. Because remember, a lot of the records that we grew up listening to, like, you know, especially pre-SSLs or early days of SSLs, were done on Neves, mixed on Neves, and they had those fixed EQ points. So it will give you, you know, it will give you that kind of feeling. So I would highly suggest trying it. And I'm not hocking Slate. I'm just saying for the money, it's pretty darn good to get an emulation, especially if you're going to try it out for 1 month for $14.99 and put it on a mix. I should do some affiliate stuff with Slate and pushing everything here. I don't do it with anybody, but you know, when it comes to gear, because I love everything. The Tegeler, I love. So anyway, Tegeler's fantastic. As you know, it's about $1,500 or less, and it is a world-class sounding Pultec style EQ and SSL bus compressor, and it's like about an eighth the price of buying the equipment. I love Nigel Godric's stuff. Who doesn't? Stephen won't give me a Raven. I'm very happy to be able to teach Andrew. I think I'm very blessed to be able to do this. So we're hitting an hour. We're going to go a little bit longer now. Would everybody watching, there's 258 of you on YouTube at the moment, which is wonderful. What's wrong with my face? Who knows? I think it's just English. And there's a lot of people on Facebook. Would you all like and share? I'd really appreciate it. That would be absolutely amazing. Would I ever do an interview with Tony Visconti? Last night I was with Rod, you know, the engineer for a lot of the Aerosmith stuff with Jay Messina, and Rod was suggesting that I talk to Tony about, because I really want to do something on Band on the Run, because it's one of my favourite sounding records. So I want to interview Jeff and talk about Band on the Run, and we're preparing a whole bunch of stuff. There's a lot of really good things that we're doing, and you're very welcome, Antonia. Lots of people are talking about the price of cigarettes here on Facebook. Funny. But anyway, the point is like, I'm going to have to get some power here for my phone or it's going to die before we finish. The point is, and so you're going to hear me walking away. I'm getting power for my phone. Can you hear me now? I'm in the back of the studio. Dum de dum 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 da. Okay. Let's just plug it into the laptop, which is of course simultaneously going. So give me a second here. Probably shake like crazy when I plug it in. Get my hand in the way. Okay. Plugged in the laptop into the phone. And of course iTunes and my Dropbox is looking for stuff which doesn't exist. Alrighty. Okay, Warren, have you used the SonarWorks reference? No, I haven't. I have not used that. I have not used that, so I can't speak authoritatively. I am shooting with an iPhone at the moment, yes. And of course it's reversed, so the camera on that side is not as good, I'm sorry to say. So you have to excuse the pixelation of it. You know, I'm sorry if it's not that good in quality. I'm going to re-plug this in somewhere else, only because it's trying to download a whole bunch of stuff off my phone and I don't have the time to change the settings. This is real life stuff, isn't it? You can tell we're doing a little Q&A here at the same time as me figuring out how to get power to my phone. Look at that. Real world stuff going on here. Speakers making noises. All right. So yeah, so that would be my my long answer to the Saudi question. I would say that, you know, he's a very smart mixer. He doesn't get into all this super detailed stuff where he's pulling out, you know, like the thing with, it's a big question here. I'm going to raise a whole huge discussion here, and hopefully, I mean, people will come back to this video and unfortunately probably won't be able to get this far into it because we're now like an hour and 7 minutes in. But the thing about mixing on those kind of consoles, not SSLs or anything with semi-parametrics and full sweepable mids and all that stuff. Well, I mean, working in Pro Tools, to answer your question on automation, you can do all the automation in Pro Tools within reason, so you don't need the Neve to do that much, even if you have flying faders. I have worked with TOF stuff, and I really like it. So anyway, the thing about when you go to APIs or the Sunset Sound console, which uses API EQs, or if you go to Neve consoles, if you're using those kind of consoles, or a Trident A range, which of course is very rare, the thing about them is that you're hearing, when you use it, you're hearing classic EQ points that defined the sound of the records that you grew up with. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is, if you want a drum sound or you want a guitar sound that's reminiscent of records that you love, then that's why you should use emulations or rent a studio with the console you want. It's a reality that you're not going to get the guitar sound that sounds like a classic you know, Zeppelin or Hendrix or whatever guitar sound without first the right gear. You need the right gear, the right amp, the right guitar, the player, the ideas. Okay, so let's just say you do get the player, the sound, and the performance. Next up, you want to try and use a similar chain to what they had. And what they were doing is, nobody in the 60s, the 70s, until the 80s, until SSLs became very popular, had the ability, at least not on every channel, didn't have the ability on 24 channels to sit there and semi-parametric EQ and fab filter the schnizzle out of it. I mean, I love the FabFilter plugins. Who doesn't? I love those detailed kind of plugins, but that's not how people made those kind of music. Now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it now. But if you want those classic sounds, it's only the question is if you want those sounds, then you need to use pieces of equipment that have those EQ points that do it. You need to locate that stuff, whether it be using the Slate Everything bundle, where you've got the Neve EQ points. I just suggest it because it's $14.99, so you could try it out for 1 month, and you could see if it works for what you need. If you're looking for that, because people are asking me about how did Sardi mix, they're asking me about classic guitar sounds, classic drum sounds. That's the way you do it. You rely on a lot of that equipment. And they did rely on it because they didn't have semi-parametrics. Now, they may have had Pultecs as well, and of course Fairchilds and other stuff, but you can get emulations of all of those. Under $1,000 preamp. I think there's so many at the moment, and it's getting really big. I feel like most of what's around under $1,000 is pretty darn good. And don't underestimate the preamps now that are coming standard in your I/O. It's pretty ridiculous. Tuber. That's nice. I like an Tuber. Thank you, Chronix. Yeah, I just don't consider myself a YouTuber because it's not how I make a living. You know what I mean? It's like see, when I think of a YouTuber, it's a person that they don't, there's a lot of guys that teach music recording and stuff like that, but they don't actually record. Or there's a couple of channels I've seen which I find quite useful, but there's guys like using the same rock band on every single video, the same song, and that's because he's working on like 5 songs a year. I didn't use YouTube as a way to get work. I already have a lot of work. So what I did is I did YouTube because I woke up one day and I saw the big channels and they seem to be very extreme. They seem to be this sort of like world of elitism, everybody telling each other they're amazing, or the beginner stuff. And I just wanted to be in the middle. I just wanted to be able to help, everybody, whether they're up and comer or whether they've been doing this for years. So that to me is what it is. But the YouTube thing is just one of the ways that I get information out there. I feel like now with our Facebook is unbelievably successful. So it's not really, practice what you preach. That's a good one. I like that. That's a great analogy. So I think that's the place we live in now, that, everybody I know who's a producer and engineer has a YouTube channel. I mean, everybody does now. Everybody does YouTube stuff. Everybody has a social media presence. It's just that some of us people gravitate towards and some don't. And it doesn't mean that the information's not good. There's plenty of YouTube videos I've found with 200 views that are amazing. Horses for courses, thank you. Marvelous. So definitely be out there. Yes, I did mix the whole Space Invader album by Ace Frehley. I mixed the whole of Space Invader and the whole of Origins. And I tracked quite a lot of both of them. Not a huge amount. Alex's main engineered 90% of both of those records. We just added a song or two on each one. Yeah, exactly. Everything that's not popular. Not being popular isn't, and I don't consider my YouTube channel massively successful. I just think it's successful in people like you and me. If I go, and look at my YouTube channel at the moment, it's interesting. I don't feel like. I don't feel. Oh, look at that! I can hear myself. I just went to it here. I don't feel like, I'm like I'm not like a professional YouTuber who does videos on unboxings and I don't like to do those videos where I pretend there's a problem. I get paid per project, So I don't like those, because you can do videos that are like a shock factor, like we always joke about the high pass video. It's got a lot of views that isn't really real. Mastering engineers will tell you they've never had a problem with people removing the low end. They'll tell you 99.9% of the time. All mastering engineers say the biggest problem they get is just a big lump of mud in the bottom end with no definition. That is what all mastering engineers have a problem with. Whether I asked it of Howie Day. I asked that question to Howie Weinberg. What's the biggest problem you get? Warren Sokol, Gavin Lurson, Reuben Cohen, Adam Ayen, Mayor Applebaum. And they all say the biggest problem they get is there's no definition in the low end. They obviously get clipping, people sending them files that are clipped, people sending them files that are overly limited, but they don't get a problem where there's no low end there. They get a problem that there's this massive amount of undefined low end because people aren't high passing properly because they are listening to disinformation. And that's very unfortunate. So that's another reason why I did this channel, was to just bring people together so we could share like real world information, you know, because there's a lot of disinformation. And of course, the other great thing about it is not only is there a lot of disinformation, but there's no right way or wrong way. So yes, sometimes you don't have to high pass because you're recording acoustic instruments and there's only 2 or 3 acoustic instruments. And so you keep that low end on the piano. You keep that extended low end on the vocal, and you keep that extended low end on the acoustic guitar because you want it to be boom, boom, and you want that low end to blow up and feel beautiful. Because if I take an acoustic guitar and take off 120 and below, that's amazing in a rock and roll mix. I don't need anything below 120 on an acoustic guitar. But soloed or with an acoustic and a vocal, it's not very satisfying not to hear that low end. You want that low end on the acoustic guitar. So that's the reason why when it comes to high passing and low passing, there is no rules. The reason why there's no rules is because what's best for the song. You know, and what is the song? Now, when you're doing EDM and metal, you want to get in there and high pass. Because when you're doing metal and you want a massive guitar sound, you're going to low pass and you're going to high pass to fit it exactly in the mix for a huge wall of guitars. If you don't high pass the low end out on guitars, your metal kick will just become mixed in with all the rumble of 20 hertz on the guitar. You don't need 20 and a 40 and possibly even 60 depending on what the lowest note is. So this is important information. There's a lot of good stuff. So that's another reason why I have the channel, is because I want to promote good, honest discussion, not like opinionated. I can't do those videos. I try and I think about it, but I can't do those videos where I pretend that there's a huge problem and don't do this and don't do that. I can't be that guy. How much do I charge an hour? It really depends. I do it per project. So you send me a song either to mix or to produce or to co-write or play guitar on, and I do it per project. You know, it's all about that. Mixing kick drum. Good question. Okay. Seems very pokey or hyped. Hi-fi systems on my monitors. It's hard to EQ because I do not have much low end. Do I need a sub? You could possibly use a sub. Did you do a car test? Most car stereos have extended low end. You know what I mean? It's... you know, if you have a car, that's your best way to check your low end. Just go and sit in your car or your friend's car if they've got like a big system, you know. All right, we have 284 people online at the moment on YouTube. That's so wonderful. Would you like and share, please? Would you like and share? Apparently, we have to like and share so that YouTube hits the algorithm and lets people know we're online. And I've said it now for like the 4th time. I feel like, yeah, I really do like, well, in that case, trust it. If that's what you're hearing in different environments, then trust it. And unfortunately, you're going to find that place where you're listening on your monitors and you're listening on different environments, earbuds, headphones, computer speakers, and you're going to find a place where it starts to make sense. You can't just pretend that your monitors are your only place. You know, you've got to be able to like look at all the places and find something that works really, really well, that works in every situation. Somebody said, are you gay? No, I'm not gay, but does that matter? I'm not, but is that an important question to ask somebody? What a strange world we live in. Anyway, would that make somebody's information less important if they were? Very strange question. Anyway. As a father, I worry about, you know, kids growing up like this where people would... We just worked with... here's a good one. We just worked with an autistic artist. And she came from England. And she said that she came to America... she came from America. I came to America from England. She says that people ask her whether she was vaccinated. You know, autistic. Can you believe that somebody would ask that question? Wow. Anyway, crazy. It's a crazy world we live in where everybody's looking for shock value. That's the thing. I don't want the shock value. No shock value. Let's get away from the shock value that this kind of stuff is important, that people think that these sidelines, there's no shock value. This is a place where we all are here to share information and help each other. I don't want to. We shouldn't pick on somebody for asking a dumb question. You know, dumb questions are okay. But the reason why I just talk about it, no disrespect to whoever asked a dumb question, because it's like, let's just help each other. I don't want to. That's why I was saying about some of the videos in the YouTube that made me want to do this, is because I wanted to get away from the shock value. You know, I've done a couple of those videos, like the $1,700 versus the $100,000. The hilarious been. Yes, thank you, my handsome English face. As long as my wife likes it, then we're okay. And that's a joke, obviously. I'm just another guy. Certainly not worried about how I look. But obviously, because I want to dye my sideburns. Anyway, so the point is like, I want to get away from the shock value. You know, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, social media in general should all be, yes, there's discounts on individual courses. Guys, the Mats who are watching, Mats, post stuff here for the courses. Post stuff, Okay, so are you all going to join me in the Academy? There's loads of Academy members already watching. Yes, well, there's less people watching. Somebody saying less comments on Facebook. We've got a smaller amount of people watching on Facebook. Can you run automation on your SSL? Yes, I do. I use automation on my SSL. Yes, that's how I do it. But I also use automation in Pro Tools as well. So I'm a bit of a. I'm very happy. Of course I'm happy. I make a living producing, engineering, mixing, and all I want to do is share how I do it with everybody else. You know what I mean? It's like, what can I say? I mean, to me, what a blessing. Oh, I'm glad you enjoyed the Beatles webinar. That was a lot of fun to do. And that was for Academy members only. So if you join the Academy, you'll be able to go back and watch that. It was a lot of fun to do that one. Of course, you could do record vocals on SM58. Auric Wild just the other day was talking about the fact that when he recorded Paul Rodgers, they used an SM57 because that's the microphone that Paul Rodgers always uses when recording. Is my room professionally treated? Yes, it is, but it's not crazy. It's just like you see the bass traps are in the ceiling because in the corners it's all like this, and I have some bass traps hanging up. Genelec came here and rang out the room, and it was pretty flat. It's got a little bit of a bump in the lows because guess what? I've got a console. Every room that has a console. Oh, somebody said there's 50% off Slate hardware at the moment. Check it out. So because I have a console, you get this kind of low build-up bouncing off the console. So I think that it's very typical in traditional studios that have consoles to have this kind of like bump at about 150. And is snare buzz an issue in the studio? I mean, if I don't turn the snare off, if I'm doing a vocal, I'll probably make sure it's off. I mean, sometimes when I do really heavy guitars, I forgot to turn it off, but the guitar was so loud that the microphone was not picking up any snare buzz. But yeah, you should definitely turn off the snare when you're recording other stuff. Here you go. The Mats have put up the Black Friday thing. I'm sure they'll put it up on Facebook as well. So you can buy, yes, to answer you, yes, you can buy the individual courses. So I think this has been absolutely wonderful. I'll go on for a few more minutes if you can all like and share. Like and share, please. That would be absolutely wonderful. And we'll keep talking a little bit longer. I'm actually going to go in a minute and help my wife. I think she's already started putting up Christmas tree for those of you that celebrate Christmas. And it doesn't matter if you don't. But she is putting up a Christmas tree. So those of you who know you well will know know me well will know that Christmas is a great time of year for those that celebrate it, and it's beautiful. But If you're not, don't celebrate Christmas. It's okay. If you're gay or not gay, it's okay. Sorry, just answering that question. I understand that he may have been answering an honest question, or he may have been trying to be a troll. I don't really know which one he was doing. But either way, as we know, it's not important. It's not important. What's so wonderful is that we have a community of people that help each other. You know, we're not into like super aggressive, you know, like people that are like, oh, you know, that's not who we are. You know, I grew up at a time, you know, in the 70s and 80s going to school, especially in the 80s for those of you who remember, where there was sort of still a lot of the sort of jock attitude. Even in England, you had a lot of guys overcompensating, people, Chronix is saying. But then if you are a bodybuilder and you're a health fanatic, you're just as welcome as anything. That's the point. This is about everybody getting together, not feeling like, you know, feeling like that there's, you know, doesn't matter what country you're from, doesn't matter what language you speak. I do speak a lot of different languages, but not very well, so you'll have to apologize. I have to apologize. Oh, it's Freddie Mercury's death. Somebody just pointed out from Queen. It is the anniversary of Freddie Mercury's death, and that's pretty hardcore. I'm going to post something on Facebook in a moment that Brian May posted earlier. I speak a tiny bit of Spanish. I have a lot of Latino guys that work for me. My main engineer, Eric Gonzalez, is of course Latino. I have a German guy, Sam Eldringman, who I'm sure is watching. My mother's mother was Dutch. My mother's father was Irish. So I do have a lot of Dutch relatives. I have Irish relatives, Scottish relatives. I have English family, of course, on my father's side. And I have a lot of different other mixes putting together. I'm just, God bless it. And, you know, it's a wonderful time. We have so many people here of different... I'm on Facebook here. We're losing connection. Is it back? Okay. You know, we're blessed. We're blessed to have so many great ways of doing this and being able to share this information. It's really good. Hello there in Holland, in the Netherlands. You know, mutts. Yeah, we're all... You know what? Everybody's a mutt. Everybody is a mutt. I mean, there's no such thing as a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, because Saxon means basically, you know, you got the Germans, the Normans, the Vikings, the Romans, and the Celts, and the all came and all lived in England. So if you're English, you know, yeah, the Celts definitely not with a K. No, Celts is C-E-L-T, Celtic. Anyway, so all of that is just one big mix. So, you know. Playing a band outside of work, not anymore. I have been slowly writing songs for a solo record, you know. So there's a really wonderful time. Yeah, R.I.P. Freddie. Yeah, it's the anniversary of his death today. I did work with Sylvia. She engineered some music for my band for an EP that didn't get released. We ended up doing it with Dave Jordan afterwards. So anyway. This has been absolutely wonderful. Can you all like and share, please? I've got 286 likes. That's very wonderful on YouTube. See if we can get it over 300. That would be amazing just for the day. I really appreciate everything. Which speakers still am I using? The ribbon tweeter ones are the Unities. And the other ones are the Genelix. My wife is setting up for Christmas. We have kids putting up the Christmas tree. I love music so much. How do I start my own record label? Oh, that's a great question. How do you start your own record label? Well, you can directly talk to iTunes and they will let you put up straight on your own. I mean, you just need enough capital to be able to print albums so you can at least get some CDs for bands to sell at shows. Even though you won't sell a lot of CDs, you will need CDs for shows. If your bands that you sign do a lot of shows, you want to be able to do, you know, vinyl as well. People love vinyl. You don't have to have a huge amount of money. You know, it's just really just a case of, you know, taking some stuff and really doing great things, you know. Luckily, there's SoundCloud and lots of places now. Yeah, there's loads of places to get your music out there and get other people that you work with music. I'm from Manchester, founded by the Romans. Must have been a Roman DNA in me. You know. Wield a sword, yes. Hey man, could send you a song I'm working on. You can. I just get like so many songs a day that I don't get to listen to everything. So that's the thing, is like I'd never be able to keep up with it. With the Academy members, we do a lot of stuff. So if you do end up going to the Academy, you can hey, Matt McQueen, go to Facebook, check your images that you're using on the Black Friday sale. Check your images that you're using on the Black Friday sale. Pretty funny. Pretty funny. Go check it. Matt McQueen. All right. So, all right, everybody. Thank you ever so much. Please like and share. You can carry on the conversation afterwards. I really think this has been wonderful to talk about it. What year did I come to the States and why did I come? Well, I came here in the mid-late 90s because I was in a band and we came over to do an album with Don Smith. And we had an English deal and we got an American deal and we stayed here. Good night, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you ever so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. Please like and share. Just a quick reminder, we have a $99 yearly membership available, which is going to be posted up now for those of you that want to be a member of the Academy. You know, I really, really appreciate it. We have 25 multi-tracks in there for $99. 25 multi-tracks you can download. And you can watch until when it's going through till Monday at midnight. So have a marvelous time recording and mixing. I really, really appreciate it. We'll post all of the links to everywhere. Please like and share before you all go. Ron Mockridge. Sam has not got back to you. Sam, are you watching? Ron Mockridge is trying to get hold of you. Thank you ever so much. Please like and share. I really appreciate it. Please carry on the conversation after we post the video. That would be absolutely amazing. I really, really appreciate everybody here. You've been absolutely marvelous. I'll try and answer as many questions as I can afterwards. Hello, Chris and Carlisle. Come and decorate my tree. Okay. Have a marvelous time. I really appreciate it. Lead guitar, LA3A on guitars. All right. Love you all too. Have a marvelous time recording and mixing. And I'll speak to you all soon. Thank you. Got to see how I finish this. Stop the streaming.